Okay, good Erev Shabbos, everyone. As we start the third perek in Masechtas Yoma, and we are dedicated by the Fisher family, Lila Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi Shlomo ben Abraham Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain. We are dedicated Le'ilui Nishmas, Levi Yitzchak ben Meir, Yaakov Moshe ben Zev, Eliyahu Moshe ben Chayes Sarah, she should have a refuah, he should have a refuah Shalema b'Sech Shecher Yisrael, and we are dedicated by Yoel Klugman and family for their gesund parnasa berevach and all kinds of nachas. So, if you remember, we now are getting back to the procedure of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. We had a little detour when we spoke about the 4 different lotteries, but now we're back to Yom Kippur. And the first avodah in the morning after the Trumas Hadeshin at Chatzais was the Shechit of the Korban Tamid. But the Tamid is a Tamid Shel Shachar of the morning, and therefore you can't start until it's light outside. So Amalahem HaMamuna, the Mamuna is the Skan Kohen Gadol, the appointed Kohen, which is the deputy Kohen Gadol, says to them, Tzu'u uru'u im higia zman hashchita. Go out and check if it reached the time, go to a high point and see if it reached the time of the slaughtering of the Korban Tamid. Is it day yet? Im higia, if it was light outside, Haraya Omer, the onlooker said, Barkai, it's light. Matisyahu ben Shmuel said they didn't just ask if there's light on the horizon. They asked, Heyer Pnei Kol HaMizrach Ad Shebechevron? Is the horizon lit up on the east all the way to Chevron? The Rav says he mentions Chevron to invoke the schus of the Maras HaMachpelah. Is it all the way until Chevron? V'uaymer hein, and he says yes, and then they were ready to do the Shechita Satamit. Now, why? The Beis HaMikdash was outside. Why didn't they just look up? Why did they have to send a lookout from a high place? So Mishna Bey says, why did they have to go so far? One time there was a gleam from the moon. And when they looked up, when they looked up, they thought that the sun was already out in the east. Really, it was the moon and it was still night. They slaughtered illegally the Tamid Shel Shachris, and they had to burn it. They had to take it out and burn it because it was disqualified. So therefore now they went a high point and they made sure. Now in order to get the Kohen Gadol ready, the Kohen Gadol will immerse himself on Yom Kippur 5 times and do 10 Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim, sanctification of the hands and the feet. So this is the first time Haridu Kohen Gadol the Beis HaTfilah, they brought the Kohen Gadol to immerse. Now it could be that he immersed himself already in the night at Chatzais before doing the Trumas Hadeshin. But that doesn't count because once it's day, he has to immerse himself now. And this is the first immersion of the day. Now, again, an aside over here, a Kohen Gadol that's a regular Kohen, or a Kohen Gadol, that's in the middle of doing the Avodah during the day. So he's being makar a carbon, and he has to go to the bathroom. They went to the Lishkas Beis HaMoikid, and over there in that cavernous chamber, they had a bathroom. Beis HaKisei Shel Kavod, it was called. And because it was private, it had a lock. It was snua, it was modest, and if he moved his bowels, he has to go, what we call gedolim, he has to go to the mikveh to continue. If he urinates, then he has to do kiddush yadayim raglayim from the kiyah. And that's what the Mishnah concludes with, zaklal. This is the general principle. Hoya b'mikdash, zaklal hoya b'mikdash, this is a general principle in the mikdash. Kol ha-meisech es raglav, whoever moves his bowels, ton tefillah. If he wants to continue doing the avodah, temple service, he has to immerse. The Kalamatul Mayim, whoever urinates, Ton Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim, he has to sanctify his hands and his feet from the kier. What they did is the kier had many faucets, and he put his right hand on top of his right foot, his left hand on top of his left foot, and washed. That's called Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim. I just want to say to everybody, Baruch Hashem, another beautiful evening of Gemara and Mishnayos. The shir that I gave last night on marital strategies and sweeteners for veteran couples, those that did not catch that shir and do not live in fairways and want to watch it with their wives, I would recommend it highly. It is on TorahAnytime.com. It is also easily accessible on YouTube. It's on YouTube as well. By the way, I uploaded a few very interesting shiurim on YouTube. There's a 3-minute talk that I gave in the Grand Belzer Beis Medrash. There's a talk that I gave by Mama Rachel, by Rachel's Kever and Beis Lechem. There's a talk that I gave by the Kinneret, by Rameir Balanes's Kever. Those are all uploaded to YouTube. I uploaded a hesped that I gave on Rav Miller on his 19th yard site, so that's uploaded as well. There's a very, very good share that I gave to seminary girls, Advice for Life. That's also uploaded onto YouTube. So there's some very nice shiurim on YouTube as well. Again, if anybody wants to dedicate it next week's share or any of the shiurim, 718-916-3100, Motzei Shabbos 10:15. Throughout the week, next week, again, it'll be 8:45. Everybody should have a wonderful Shabbos.
Shabbos.